Hey everybody, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. My name is Chris. Today's video is about one of my favorite topics in perfumery, clean and fresh. Listen, there are so many genres of perfume that are polarizing, and to me, smelling clean and fresh is just impossible to hate. Like, whoever said, oh, you smell so terrible, you smell so clean and fresh out of the shower, it's awful. Like, Nobody ever said that. It happens to be one of my favorite scent categories. It's perfect for the spring and summer. And I just find that I never go wrong when I reach for something clean and fresh. I never worry about offending anybody or choosing something inappropriate. And I have so many beauties. This is not a complete list, but look at all these beauties I have in my, I call it a little basket, in my perfume basket or tray that I will be talking about today. But before I get started, hey, listen, if you have any favorite clean and fresh fragrances, let us all know in the comments below. If you have been enjoying my content and are not yet subscribed, I would love it if you would join my YouTube family and hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so that you're aware anytime I upload a video. So in this video, I'm gonna cover a lot of different categories, even woody fragrances. I have some beautiful, fresh, and clean woody fragrances. And so with that, I'm just gonna get started. Speaking of woody fragrances, why don't I start with them? So one of the best, freshest sandalwood fragrances in my collection, there's one more I have in the basket, is Santal Dan Sha. Now, if you almost loved Santal 33 by Le Labo, but you found it to be too masculine and too heavy, too spicy, this to me is like the feminine, lighter wearing version that's a little bit more fresh. So it has that beautiful, recognizable, gosh, I want to spray myself right now, but I'm at the beginning of my video. Beautiful, recognizable sandalwood, but it never ever ventures into that dill category or that pickle category, which I smell on other people when they wear Santal 33. This is a little bit lighter, this is brighter, this is more fresh, it's a little bit more citrusy, it's not as spicy, it does not have like leather like Santal 33 does. So I think, in my opinion, I mean, it's completely unisex, but it's the more feminine version or the more lighter wearing version. And it is an eau de toilette, but even though it's an eau de toilette, it has terrific performance. The next one is one of my newest pickups. It's called Santal Volcanique by Maison Crivelli. This is definitely a unisex sandalwood, and it's nothing like I thought it was going to be. I didn't try it forever, and I sampled this because I did a sample swap with a friend. And when I smelled it, I was so surprised because I thought this was going to be a heavy, smoky, burned, charred, rich sandalwood. It is nothing like it. It is a fresh, lighter wearing sandalwood because it has ginger, it's got some citruses, lime, a little bit of spiciness from cardamom. I mean, I would say more than a little bit. It's got a lot of cardamom. I picked that up more so in the beginning, but that lime and the ginger and a little bit of that zinginess from the cardamom really gives this perfume a nice lift, but it's still recognizable as a sandalwood. The sandalwood in here is on the creamy side. It's not on the clean, crisp side. Those notes give it a cleanliness, but the sandalwood really is on the creamy side. It's a very easy sandalwood to wear. I think it's very appropriate for year round, but because of those nice notes, those zingy, fresh ginger, lime, cardamom notes, this is going to be perfect in the heat. I don't predict a problem in the high heat. It is gorgeous. Okay, I've got a couple of lemon forward fragrances. One of the best performing lemon citrusy fragrance, because citrusy fragrances are notorious for not having great longevity, is this one right here. Petit Matin, which is definitely a unisex leaning fragrance. This has a lot of lemon. It's got florals, orange blossom, musk, a little bit of lavender, and a little bit of a hawthorn note, which to me is like a sweet honeyed floral. So that does come out as this starts to dry down, but in the beginning, it's really very fresh, very citrusy forward, very lemon forward. And then you get a little bit more sweetness in the mid to dry down. This has ambroxan, which is probably the reason why this has great longevity, great lasting power, and I can get no problem 6 hours from this one. The next one that I never talk about because it is relatively new, I would say maybe 3 to 4 months, is one called Baptisma. Now this is a lemon fragrance that is leaning into the gourmand department, or it is partially gourmand. I would say this is a fresh and clean gourmand fragrance. So there is lemon verbena, there is milk, you have neroli, ginger, oak moss, and I'm pretty sure musk, and in the dry down there is incense. So to me, oh gosh, it's so delicious. This is a lemon verbena gelato or sorbet. This smells exactly like lemon verbena. So if you know, you know. Now make that into a gelato or make that into a light sorbet or ice cream, and it's because of that underlying milk note. It's not overly lactonic. It never goes sour on me. I don't think vanilla is listed, but I do get a slight vanillic sweetness because this is in no way sharp, overly citrusy, screechy, or soapy. It's none of that. It's a little bit tart and it's a little bit tangy, but it's not like overly citrusy or squeaky clean. And as this dries down, I definitely get an incense, but it is cold. It's not smoky in the least, but I do get a nice cold and slightly woody incense. So I definitely love this, but it does really wear, at least on me, on the light side. So I do really have to coat my skin and my clothes, and then I can get about 5 hours. I don't care. It's so delicious and an excellent perfume. It was in the 90s a couple days ago. It's only the very 1st of June, so it's going to be really hot this summer. This did beautifully in that 90-degree weather. Okay, I'm back after a couple hour break. I didn't realize today was the day that we're gonna be, you know, cutting on my trees right outside my window. So I was talking about Clean Skin, which is, you know, this has been around for several years, but it's still a fantastic clean fragrance, like fresh and clean. For those of you who don't like overly citrusy fragrances, they like a little bit of powder and a little bit of sweetness. So this to me smells like you just took a shower and you used really delicious, sweet body wash, and you stepped out of the shower and you just dried your skin. And the way you smell naturally with all those good sweet body products is what this smells like. So it's fresh and clean. It has a little bit of a praline sweetness, but it's not overly sweet. There's a little bit of salt to offset that praline note, and it's very, very powdery. It's powdery and fresh and clean and sweet and musky in the dry down. Gorgeous fragrance around, you know, I would say it's light wearing to moderate wearing with respect to longevity. Another one, this one's completely opposite. This is like squeaky clean, fresh and clean with a little bit of sweetness. This is Liberty Island. Ooh, this is tart, tart, tart. In the beginning, it's got orange, a little bit of bergamot, lots of musk. It has a little bit of florals, and it's got a note of marshmallow, but this is not a heavy marshmallowy sweet fragrance. This smells like you have a lemon musk tart, like popsicle or ice cream cone, and you sprinkled that with a dusting of marshmallow, like marshmallow dust. So lightly dusted with a marshmallowy sweetness, very clean, very cottony clean. So as this dries down, the strong citruses and musk die down a little bit, particularly the citruses. The musk kind of hangs out. Then you have a little bit of that marshmallowy sweetness and some background florals. I would say like freesia. This smells like it has freesia in it. And this actually has decent lasting power for a fresh and clean perfume. Speaking of squeaky clean, the one squeaky clean fragrance I have is right here. It's 724 by MFK. This is definitely the most squeaky clean of the bunch. It has a note of sweet pea, some citruses, musk. It definitely starts off super soapy, squeaky clean. To me, it's like a very elevated, very, very fresh, squeaky clean laundry detergent or fabric softener. It has a very subtle, maybe a screechiness in the beginning. Others, I think some people might think it's so clean that it's a little screechy. I think it's bordering on that. It's more really, really squeaky clean and fresh. As it dries down, it becomes a little bit softer, more musky, a little bit warmer, and a little bit powdery in the dry down. Not super, super long lasting. I would call this moderate wearer. The next one is definitely a freshy masterpiece. That is, in my opinion. A lot of you might yawn and say, oh my God, I'm so over that perfume. I'm on my second bottle. I will always have this. It is Chancel Chance Eau Fraiche. I have Chancel Chance Eau Tendre. Another one I think is a beautiful masterpiece that just smells so good. But this is a delicious lemon cedar freshie that just lasts forever. An utterly classic freshie, some soft florals, a little bit of musk, a little bit of kind of like watery soft florals. This is one of my easiest reaches with regards to clean and fresh, grab and go, particularly in the hot weather. I don't wear this in the cold weather because I'm usually wearing some of my heavy hitters. This is such an easy reach for me in the hot weather. Then I'm going to show a Jo Malone. Now, I'm not going to show wood sage and sea salt, which would be perfect for this video. I'm going to show one that doesn't get any recognition, any love, but it's still really fresh and clean and refreshing. And it's called Wild Bluebell. So this is supposed to smell like bluebells, blueberry, and grass. What I get is something that's a little bit more fruity. I get like a peachy watermelon freshness and fruitiness with some very delicate watery florals. So this is a watery, fresh, clean, delicate, a little bit green floral with a little bit of fruitiness. It's got a very pretty musk in the dry down, and like all Jo Malones, it does wear lightly. So I do find this one is another easy reach, great for the hot weather, and it's work appropriate. Another really long-lasting favorite of mine is a citrusy tea fragrance. I love citrusy tea perfumes, and I've shown a couple already. This one is Wulong Cha by Nishan, and this is the X version. The original version, which I enjoyed a ton, was slightly more green. I think that had a little bit more neroli, whereas this one still has that beautiful green tea front and center, but it's slightly more floral, less green. Still, if you have the original, it would be too redundant to have both. But if you enjoyed the original, but it was just a little bit too green for you, this might be a better option because it still has that beautiful green tea, but it's a little bit more floral, and that green, a little bit screechy greenness or that heavy greenness is just not in here. And again, for a citrusy green tea perfume, which I find do not last very long, this one has really good longevity. The next one I'm just going to briefly mention because I talk about it all the time is another fresh and clean musky sandalwood. As you can tell by the dent, I love this. Nothing But Sea and Sky. This has been a favorite of mine for several years, and it is a very fresh sandalwood perfume with some citrusy brightness and a very heavy but nice gauzy underlying musk. Smells so good, does not last forever, but I don't care. This does terrific in the heat because it wears lightly. Now, if I spray on my clothes, I spray pretty heavily on my clothes and my skin, and in the hot weather it performs better. It doesn't perform as great in the wintertime. I wear this in the winter because this is winter appropriate for me as well, particularly when it's just like that beautiful crisp day without a cloud in the sky. There's a chill in the air. This is really nice when it's sunny. Another beautiful, very classy, fresh and clean, mossy, woody perfume is this one right here from that Chloe line. This is called Cedrus, and I want to say, I think this is another Canton Biche creation. So again, a beautiful, fresh and clean, woody fragrance. I don't know the wood in here. I think it's just woody notes, but it definitely, to me, has a little bit of a citrusy freshness, even though citruses I do not believe are listed in the notes. It's got musk and some definite oak moss. So if you enjoy a beautiful oak moss note, you should definitely get your nose on this one. It does remind me, it's just in the same ballpark as wood sage and sea salt. There's no saltiness in here, and it doesn't have any of that slight marine quality. It's got a little bit of vetiver in its place. It's a little bit more dry. So fresh, earthy, dry, mossy, gorgeous light wood with musk, very elegant, very chic, very classy, and definitely work appropriate, in my opinion. So I'm gonna end with two cleanly formulated fragrances. The first one is 1111 by Lake and Sky. This is like a very fresh, clean, musky perfume, like your skin, but better, but heavier on the musk, and heavier on the fresh and clean side of things. So it's fresh and clean, and it does have a little bit of that soapiness in it. Very musky. As it dries down, it gets less soapy, and there's a little bit of a very thin, clear amber that does lend a little bit of sweetness in the dry down. So another kind of like your skin, but better. The only downside to this is it does not last very long. So this brand also carries the oil rollerball in the same scent. So I've been meaning to get that forever to layer them, and I'm quite sure if you layer them, you're going to get a little bit better performance, but it's really just super pretty. Last but certainly not least is a fragrance called Dusk Dawn by Dyad. Now this company is vegan, cruelty-free, etc. And they were started by sisters. I don't know if they're twins, but they're definitely sisters who are in California, and they wanted to start a candle company. Soon after they released their candles, which were very successful, they started to release fragrances. I think they started off with roller balls, and then they moved on to the atomizers. This is a very delicious, gauzy, light, fruity, floral perfume. So the point of view is they wanted to recreate a breezy, light summer morning in California or Los Angeles. So it has these beautiful fruits, delicate florals, and musk, and a little bit sweetness in the dry down. So the fruits in here are the citruses. That's yuzu, pink grapefruit, and pomegranate, and the florals in here are kind of like these beautiful, delicate, watery florals. Water lily, a little bit of dewy rose or rose petals, peony in the background, and it has this lovely non-gourmand sweetness in the background. I want to say tonka, maybe a little bit of amber. Definitely has a soft overlying musk that's bathing everything in a very, very gentle, woody base. I want to say it's either sandalwood or cedar. So if you love the idea of a fresh and clean, kind of a your skin but better, with delicate florals, with watery florals, with some delicate citrusy fruits, and a subtle sweetness in the dry down, this is so beautiful. Now, I absolutely love the scent. The scent is spectacular, and I can't imagine anyone finding this offensive. It wears very, very lightly. So it would be work appropriate. It would be good for hot weather. I definitely plan on getting the rollerball or the oil perfumes. Now they were sold out at the time, so I would definitely be interested in getting those, because I find time after time after time, it always increases the longevity of a perfume when something wears lightly, and this smells so good. I want it to last forever. But again, absolutely gorgeous, and I would love to bathe in a big vat of that. So that's it. So that was it, a rundown of some of my favorite fresh and clean fragrances for the moment. This is a category I'm going to be wearing the most while we work our way into the summer, which is going to be a scorcher. Again, I told you it's already in the 90s here. So I'm going to be wearing these a ton and having to put some of my heavy gourmand fragrances away, at least for the middle of the day. I could wear some of those at night. Hey, if I didn't mention any of your favorite fresh and clean fragrances, let us all know in the comments below. Thanks again for sticking around. Thanks for watching. And with that, I'll see you on the next one.